Hi, Toya. Now joined by the host rather of the UFO show with Adam and Andy. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. Before we get going, I just want to let everybody know that the Toonie Tuesday at KFC is back. Just came up on my Twitter, and that is a great deal. I'm going to go get a $2 chicken sandwich after this.
You know what? I might have to do that too. I have to run to town after this. Might have to pull the Toonie out and go shopping. That's a free plug for KFC.
Great. Yeah.
Awesome. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm good, but for me, it's the dollar drink days at McDonald's. That's the king deal.
Yeah, there you go. Right, actually, here in Kamloops, they're kind of right across the street from each other. So if I went there, I could just kind of whip across.
There's also
a whole meal for $3.
Yeah, but there's also, if you go to Wendy's, they also have the the $2.99 Frosty.
Is it $2.99 or is it 99
or something like that?
I think it's a 99-cent Frosty. So for like what, $4, you can have lunch and dessert. Pretty good.
And this is turning into like when I go to Costco with my wife when we get groceries and dinner on the way out for like $6.
Right, I love Costco for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect Canuck, perfect before the Canuck game meal.
That's
true.
Right.
Yeah, with it right there.
Exactly.
What would be your go-to at Costco? Like, is it the pizza? Is it the hot dog? Like, what's the go-to? Chicken strips?
I've been into the poutine lately, but that's expensive. It's like $6 for a poutine. So their pizza's good. I like their cheese pizza, but I don't ever eat the chicken strips. It's usually either a poutine and then a combination of a pizza or a hot dog.
That's fair. The chicken strips are really good, actually. I'm always tempted. They used to have I don't know if they still have it. It's been a little bit, but the Montreal smoked meat sandwich. Do they still have that?
They don't have it anymore, but that was good.
Yeah, that was like the go-to before it. Now it's probably chicken strips or the pizza. I really like the pizza too. The pizza is so big. Like you get a lot of pizza for like nothing. As is Costco's custom, right?
Exactly.
I guess speaking on fast food and eating large quantities of food, Joey Chestnut with an enormous day, breaking another one of his own records, 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes is like, I can't even fathom being able to consume that many hot dogs, especially in 10 minutes. Like in 10 minutes, I might get through like 2 hot dogs.
Nasty.
Well, especially with him, like we were saying, he's won the title 14 years, but it's his year over year, like consistency. So every year he's getting better. Every year he's, I think it's the last 5 years, he's hit 70 every year. Like that's what you want in your competition, where there's no drop in your winner. Like he's just hammering it. Like I wouldn't be surprised one day if we see him hit like 80 or 90. Like
how much was it like above his old record doing 76? 1?
Yep, that he set last year.
How do you think that guy trains for that? Does he like not eat for like 3 days before this event or what?
There's a documentary out there that actually like talks about, how he doesn't have any insides basically, and like just the before and the after. So, and like some of the strategies that go on into there, but basically, for his however long of fame, his body is just done, like inside.
Really?
Yeah.
Nasty.
I mean, it makes sense. Like the human body is not meant to eat 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes, right? Like, what do you do after? Do you just throw it all up?
Meant to eat 76 hot dogs in a year.
Yeah, I know. That was what I was saying to you guys before we started. Was like, I don't know if you gave me like multiple months and told me to eat 76 hot dogs that I would be up for the task. Like that's a lot of hot dogs. Like I probably would eat like maybe a sixth of that in a year. Like if you take into consideration like camping seasons.
Yeah, I think I'd probably eat about 12 a year.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, he isn't that big. He's 6 foot, 230 pounds.
So he's like the Michael Phelps of hot dog eating. Like the guy's just a freak athlete, specifically designed in a lab somewhere to eat.
Exactly. He's not like 400 pounds. He's like he's relatively fit.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like a normal guy, right? Like he doesn't. I don't know. Like if I would walk past him on the street and not think, "Holy, that must be Joey Chestnut," right? Like, yeah, I couldn't fathom.
See, bring that guy into the Canucks organization because he knows how to win consistently.
He's the Tampa Bay Lightning of the hot dog world, just stacked up to the gills and unfair, really, how good he is at what he does. Yeah, I mean that's wild. How many years do you think like a hot dog eating competitor has in their career span? Like how many years does their average hot dog eater go?
I feel like he's been doing it for a while, like at least 10 years.
Well, because he's got what, 14 championships?
Yeah,
so is that
he has
14 years?
championships, and he didn't win twice.
So 16 years.
And he's 37.
Oh, nasty.
Wow.
So I don't know if he missed 2 years for that he lost, or if he just, because it only gives me the wins. It doesn't tell me if he competed in those other years.
Well, there's that Japanese guy that beat him a few times, Kobayashi or something his name was.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
Maybe.
Yeah, that guy has, I think it's 7 or 9 wins.
Wow.
He was the champion before Joey came.
So he uprooted the dynasty, the Joey Chestnut did, and then created his own just unbelievable. Like I would hope at this point, like that would never be a record touched, right? Like I don't know if I want to see somebody come in and win like 15, 16 eating competitions. Like that would be, I couldn't even fathom that.
You know
certainly
what
wouldn't be me.
Kind of gross. Like people line up to watch these guys eat that or watch it on TV.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's at least it's not like a long competition. You imagine how many they would eat, like if you gave them, an hour. Like he's eating 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Like I know at a certain point, like you can't just keep that pace up. I don't obviously
think 200 in him, but
he's just like it doesn't even go down anymore. It's just sticking straight out. And it's like it's as close as it gets.
Hey, he's the Wayne Gretzky of eating hot dogs.
Yeah, he's the GOAT, right? Like,
well, here's the question: how many years do you think it takes him to beat Wayne Gretzky? What his record is 82 goals in a season, correct?
I believe
I know it's
so.
like 96 or something.
Yeah, I think it's higher than that. I think he's had over a goal a game seasons. I'd have to look.
Yeah. So do you think that that Joey can beat Wayne Gretzky's goals per season and
In an
hot
eating
dogs per 10
competition?
minutes?
Personally, I hope not, because that's nuts, man. Like I can't even, like, 90 hot dogs. Imagine if he got like 100 hot dogs in him in 10 minutes.
He would explode.
Yeah, that's like 10. That's what, 10 a minute? That's nuts. Every 6 seconds, he's putting a hot dog into him.
Oh, like, I can't even imagine. It's just so gross.
And it's not just the hot dog; it's the bun.
Yeah,
well.
right. I mean, they soak it down pretty good to condense it.
That's a ton of sugars, and that's a ton of carbs, and that, like,
it would just feel like cement in your stomach. I can't even.
Yeah.
No, uncomfortable. I couldn't do it.
Nasty.
Like,
Yeah,
I've done
so that
3
might
hot
turn me
dogs
off
and
for
felt like I
lunch.
wanted to die afterwards. So I don't know how he does it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might be good on lunch for a little bit after talking Joey Chess. I'm certainly not having hot dogs, that's for sure. Yeah, so I mean, you guys have been doing the UFO show now for 3 weeks. This will be the 4th week. You guys have been doing the boosted odds and everything all through Bet99. How are you guys liking the show so far? Like, it's been a lot of fun to follow and for me to produce.
Yeah, for me, it's been fun. I mean, I know for myself personally, I'm sure Adam's probably the same. Like, I make, I would say, fairly regular sports bets. I'm not betting $200, $300, $400 at a time, but I'll put $5 here, $10 there. So, just kind of have some fun with it. Talk with Adam about things we like, things we don't like. It's been fun so far. I'm really looking forward to October when we get some Canucks games and we can do some boosted odds. Things like Pettersson to score a goal and the Canucks win by 2 or something. I think that'll be a fun time. But so far, it's been great for me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because when we do the show, now we're going into more depth into, we're becoming those people that people look on the street and be like, they have way too much time on their hand. Like we were talking about, over unders increasing because of the fact that you can't use sticky solution. Like, who talks about that type of thing? Or, home versus aways and looking at day games versus night games if you're looking at baseball. So the betting world is interesting because it opens your eyes into, like, that you really have to pay attention to what some people call the stupid stats because that will really help you.
Well, I mean, with any sport too, there's a lot of variables, right? And a lot of those variables are stuff that you mentioned, like where they're playing, what their record is, home or away, what their competition is like, what their record is, home or away. Stuff like the MLB is wild to bet on right now because of that sticky tack situation on top of everything. But I like that, like watching your guys' show. Like, I know a lot of like hockey and basketball stuff. I'm starting to dip into football a little bit more, but like MLB is fairly foreign to me. So coming in and being able to kind of see what trends are for different teams, where you think certain teams will thrive or certain players will thrive. I like that you're able to do all sorts of different sports, especially right now, like the Euros is going on. So I've been doing lots of Euro betting. So no, it's been really cool to follow, and you guys have been pretty bang on with a lot of stuff so far.
Well, one thing we also have noticed is you also have to put personal biases aside. Like Andy betting on the Chicago Cubs right now probably isn't the best move because they're just in.
Nope.
But so, like, when Vancouver season comes, are you going to, like, we have to look at, we might never bet on a Chicago Vancouver game that Chicago would win, but you have to put that personal bias aside to really make the bet work.
Yeah, there's betting and then there's cheering, right?
Yeah.
Like you hope for this one result, but it's whether you think or how confident you are in that result occurring that Like otherwise, I think you'd have Canucks fans betting for an 82-0 season, right? Which that's just not smart. But you're cheering for an 82-0 season, so just being able to kind of differentiate predictions and betting versus cheering and following and covering the team.
Well, the other thing too is like, I know we were talking last week about England, Ukraine. I bet on the Ukraine. I think I put $5 on Ukraine to win because they were plus 1,000. I think the odds were, right. It's like, I didn't really think that Ukraine was going to win the game, right? But at plus 1,000 odds that you get that good of a return on your investment, especially in a game like soccer where it's usually a 1-0 or, a 2-0 game, you hope maybe you get it to penalty kicks and you get lucky and you win, right? So it's not always about picking who you think's going to win, but sometimes you do have to play the odds a little bit.
So how much, this is one question that I have, how much weight do you put in momentum? Because we know that some teams can get on a roll, they get hot. And this is different for every league, of course, in every sport, but results change from game to game. At what point, like how much weight do you put into momentum for a team? Like if they get rolling, say your Chicago Cubs start rolling, they win 3 or 4 in a row. How much are you feeling confident that they're going to win games 5 or 6?
Yeah, for baseball, I don't put any weight into it. Baseball is such an odd sport in that there's different starting pitchers every day. Like if you win 4 in a row and then you have your fifth starter up in the rotation, maybe he's not that good, right? Like you might give up 10 runs, right? Your offense could score 12, but you could still lose the game because you give up 9 runs in an inning and a half, right? So in baseball, not so much. And in a sport like hockey or even football, factor in a little bit. Definitely hockey, basketball, I factored in more just because you are playing more consistently. And, football is kind of like a week-to-week thing. You have a full week to sort of prepare and study the other team. Again, kind of like baseball, each game is so different.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, whereas like with basketball and hockey, you've got your main rosters, and that's kind of your roster for pretty much the whole season, and it's not really going to change all that much aside from a couple pieces.
Well, with the Euro, Denmark is a great example. Denmark is on this unbelievable run that nobody would have predicted because they had that emotional boost of losing Christian Eriksen. So it's also dependent because tournaments are very different. Because tournaments, if there is an emotional thing that happens in tournaments, it always seems like that team prevails or like they go far. So
yeah,
like, they lose their top player, they lose their coach, or they lose something, but then they find a way to win. It's like almost Hollywood-esque, but it works. So you also have to put into that perspective that when you're betting on a short tournament, that momentum is ridiculously important, and that's really the only thing. Like look at Montreal Canadiens. They after game 5 in Toronto, up until the Stanley Cup final, they were just riding that momentum wave. Yeah. But because you can get hot for a 1 month span, easy. And it is something that in betting you have to look into.
Kind of trying to predict as much as you can. I mean, there's so many variables in sports, but like the team of destiny thing, I see that come up a lot. And Montreal, I know going to hockey in your example, Montreal Canadiens felt a lot like a team of destiny going into the Stanley Cup Finals, just and how they were taking apart teams that people predicted they had no business being against, right? Like they had no business being in that series against Toronto, Winnipeg, or Vegas. Everybody was betting against them. A lot of people were calling sweeps. It's almost ironic now that in the Stanley Cup Final, they're on the verge of actually being swept because they've been predicted to have that exact result 4 times in a row.
It's really weird because this Montreal team, I feel like, is the only team that I've ever had this feeling like, you know what? There are the team of destiny and they can come back from this 3-0. Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm just, it's like, you don't want to bet against them because they've just shown up you so many times. And it's like, if you get that little feeling, and you like, if there's one team that's going to come back from 3-0, it's this Montreal team. Like, they're somehow going to do it. Hockey karma is going to come and bite Tampa Bay in the ass somehow. Like, and that Montreal is like, I know I'm probably wrong here. Like, Montreal's probably going to win one game, like at the most. But like, there's just this weird feeling like something could happen here, and it wouldn't be unexpected to happen.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. Like, I would love to see this finals get interesting, because it's been pretty, I don't want to say boring, because the hockey's been fine. It's just when you're watching one team kind of run away with it at the end of every game, you're like, like there's no drama, there's no suspense in wondering what the result's going to be when teams are winning 6-3. I like closer games, but and ultimately that's what the NHL obviously hopes for too, is that in the Stanley Cup final that they're going to get the best matchup that you could possibly get. I would argue we've already had that in the playoffs. I would say that Vegas Colorado series is probably the best series that we'll see this year, and sometimes that happens. But I would like to see Montreal win at least one. But the problem is Tampa Bay is 14-0 after losing a game in the playoffs. So even if they lose one game, it's almost like a 0% chance that they'll get two, right? And that's hard to swallow for the Habs.
Well, one other big part about this is, when we look at basketball and basketball betting, is the injuries. So what type of injuries are there? I was listening to something this morning where they were talking about Giannis. We don't know if he's out for the postseason or not. There's speculation that he's out. So how do you make a bet on the Milwaukee Bucks if Giannis is out for the whole playoffs? That's going to change. If you thought that the Bucks were going to win in 7 with Giannis, do you now think that the Phoenix Suns are going to win in 5 because Giannis isn't there? So injuries also play a massive part in this whole thing, where if teams don't want to say, hey, Giannis is out for the year, the rest of the season, like Kawhi Leonard, we didn't know that he was going to be out for the whole playoff. That changes the betting line of that LA Clippers Phoenix Sun series.
Absolutely.
If we know that Kawhi's out, then people might not have put money on LA.
True.
It's a good point, right? Because in a sport like basketball or football with a quarterback, where your team's success is so dependent on one or two players, it's very hard to overcome. Like Adam said, if Giannis isn't going to play, the Bucks are probably not even a playoff team if they don't have him on their team, right? So it'd be kind of not really that smart to bet on the Bucks to win. But if Giannis is in the lineup, they're arguably, the best team in the league. I mean, they're in the NBA Finals, right? So they'd be a very elite team. So definitely you have to factor in injuries. I think, like I said, it all depends on the injury and the position, right? I think of a team like hockey. If you lose your starting goalie, it's probably going to hurt a lot, right? If you lose your number one defenseman, it's going to suck. But I mean, we look at Florida Panthers; they still did okay without Aaron Ekblad, right? So it's really position dependent as well, I think.
Well, and the depth of the lineup, right? Like with Giannis and the Bucks, who's coming up behind him, right? Brooks Lopez, Chris Middleton, like those are significantly lower names.
You got Drew Holiday.
Yeah. I mean, it's much lower tier, right? From an MVP in Giannis to, and then you look over at Phoenix, and Phoenix is pretty healthy, right? They've got CP3 that I think is going to win MVP. You got Devin Booker. You've got a team that's just rolling right now. Aiden, but that feels like a team of destiny. The Phoenix Suns just feel unstoppable at this point for the NBA Finals. The other thing too is, like, if Giannis does play, how healthy is he? Right? Like, I'm sure he will get into. I feel very confident that he's going to get into some games. It's the NBA Finals. It's the first ever Finals for him. This is a big deal. I feel like even if he's 5%, he's going to try to get into a game. But does 5% of Giannis really help you?
Well,
How much does it help you?
does 5% of Giannis actually hurt the team? Because while you could be running out another player, like I don't remember who the backup for Giannis is, but if you're running out the backup, does the backup give you more opportunity than injured Giannis? If let's say Vasilevsky or Price goes down in hockey, does putting Jake Allen or Curtis McElhinney give you a better chance to win than putting in an injured Vasilevsky or Price? So that also changes the line. Like if an injured player comes back, we saw it with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, he goes off in the NBA Finals a couple of years ago after missing a lot of time and then re-injures himself. So, if they start somebody else and don't pull him out, does that kill them? When you have to pull a player out of the game, that kills some momentum. So is it worth it to play that player when you could play him is it worth it to play that player in game 4 when you could actually play him in game 5 when they're more healthy?
Yeah. I mean, to like game plan going into games too, right? Like if you're planning on having Giannis, you're probably going to plan to use Giannis like he typically is used, right? And if he's not 100% healthy, he's not going to be able to do what he's used to doing. And that could also throw off the rhythm of the team and that game plan. So a lot of things to factor in, but you guys have been doing a great job of guiding us through the sports bets for the week. And with Bet99, we've got that special promotional offer that if you sign up using our link, which you can find on our website at area51sportsnetwork.com/betting, you can find our link there to sign up, and that can get you an extra $600 match for your initial deposit to bet with, as well as different boosted odds that you guys do weekly. So it'll be awesome to look forward to what the boosted odds will be for this week. I'm excited to see what that'll be as Euros kind of wraps up here and NBA Finals kicks off. And I don't know, maybe NHL Finals ends on Monday potentially. So it'll be interesting to see what's available for this coming weekend.
Could I throw a question out to Andy, a baseball question here for a second?
Sure, yeah. Sure.
I got 2. First off, why did the Cubs get rid of Schwarber? And second off, would you put money on Ohtani winning the MVP this year?
Number one, why did the Cubs get rid of Schwarber? It's because Tom Ricketts is cheap. The owner wanted to save some money in the pandemic. Schwarber was my second favorite player on the Cubs, so I'm very disappointed he's gone. Yeah, he's had a great year. As for putting money on MVP for Ohtani, I think so. I mean, you look, he's leading the league in home runs, and he has a sub-3 ERA as a pitcher. Like, take Mike Trout if he was healthy, or Vlad Jr. on the Blue Jays. He's having a great year, but he doesn't have the pitching to back it up either, right? So even if their hitting statistics are similar, Ohtani automatically, in my book, gets the boost because he wins you games on the mound as well.
Well, he's what he's doing right now is historic, so I think you have to factor that in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vlad Jr. is going to have a great year, but
what happens if he goes on if he starts getting tired around game 100 and his ERA drops to 6 and he's not hitting anymore?
That'd probably change some things.
I mean,
depending on how long that
more interesting conversation, but I think you'd still have to give him the MVP. Just at the end of the day, end of the year, when you look at the numbers, he's probably going to have double-digit wins. He's going to be 40 home runs at least. I mean, he's already at 30. We're not at the All-Star break yet, right? So, like I said, I just don't see how Vlad or anybody can out-hit that significantly to make up for the fact that Ohtani has 10 wins as a pitcher as well.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, well, I look forward to your guys' next episode here on coming out Thursday. Every Thursday, an episode of the UFO show with Adam and Andy. We'll see your guys' boosted odds and everything there. But thanks, guys, for joining me on Inside Area 51 this week. Of course, brought to you by Bench Clears, our friends there. If you go to benchclears.com, you can use promo code Area51 Sent Me to get 10% off on your order. And that's like, they've got the Air Mesh style tanks and shorts, all officially licensed and registered NHL merchandise. So be able to represent your team all summer long with bench clears. And that's something that I've been enjoying, as it's been almost 50-degree weather here for the last week and a half for me up in Kamloops here. So it's nice to have some breathable clothes that I'm not sweating to death in.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. And we'll see you guys on Thursday.